Brad Holmes stands pat at the deadline. Lions get Washington without Jaden Daniels. Business trip or trap? O-line depth. Goff's jersey staying clean. Tigers, they get Flaherty back at $20 million. I'm not sure about that. Wing scoring. Pistons looking good. Cade's an MVP. I'm Mark.
I'm Hermdo.
This is the Detroit Fan Forum.
Watch 2025. Yes.
But seriously, if you want to talk about anything, like this is where I feel right now, where the Detroit fan community is, Hermdo.
Mhm.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but for the longest time, we identified with the Red Wings and the
Yes.
Tigers, right? We had that safety blanket of the Red Wings and the Tigers. We lost that. Then we started getting this Lions community being built, this all grit, this
Yep.
they're on everything. Everybody's like, oh, I love your Lions, this, Lions, that. Oh, beautiful Lions, right? One
Mhm.
pride. Did we have a false sense of that safety blanket really like too soon? Because right now, after that game, the community's turned on them. All they want to talk about is the Pistons.
Yeah.
The Red Wings lose one game and it kind of quiets down.
A little bit, yeah. That's expected with the Wings, though. They're still coming along.
Look where we're at right now. We're in week 10 of the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the early parts of November. MLB is over, so now we can have all the rumors, the fun baseball rumors. We can forget about how much we hated Scott Harris a month ago. We've got the Red Wings are still early on. The Pistons are still early on. But the city of Detroit has turned on the Lions. I mean, that's the way I feel.
It seems like people are more willing to, now that we're like 5 years into this regime. It's kind of hard to believe. Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes have been here for, about a half decade now, the better part of a decade. And we see the results. And it's just like me as a Lions fan, as someone who's watched this team pretty much my whole life, I'm still very pleased with the direction they're heading in. But this season has been taxing. And some of the inaction from Brad Holmes and some of the mistakes they've been making, some of the, just mental lapses and bad penalties and subpar performances, it does stand out. I mean, they were beating up on some bad teams. They won 4 in a row against some teams that turned out to be not very good. And we kind of forgot some of the issues, especially surrounding like John Morton and whatnot.
Yeah.
And they put out that good performance against the Buccaneers. And you had Kelvin Shepard working with a bunch of cast-offs to, limit them to 9 points. And we really felt good about that. But then, those cracks are starting to form a little bit. And it just seems like this has been kind of in the ether for a little while. You can see some Lions fans. There's always going to be a subset of Lions fans that won't root for this. Like either they jump ship totally or they won't root for this team until they win a Super Bowl. And I can understand. I don't want to say I understand. I don't agree, but I understand. I'll just say that. But just, I don't know if I want to say like cracks are beginning to form, but there's definitely maybe a little bit of impatience with Lions fans. Some think maybe we blew our best shot at a Super Bowl. I say the window's still open, but you got to be more active. And Brad Holmes' free agent strategy really isn't exactly setting the world on fire. And you see what Howie, what's his name in Philadelphia has been doing, some of the moves he's been able to make, and you see the success that Philadelphia has had on the field. 3 Super Bowl appearances in like less than a decade, and you see the Lions just aren't quite there. And there's kind of tenor, this kind of mood that I see among Lions fans that Brad Holmes may be great at a lot of things, but there's just not the urgency there of other teams. And it's just like, I know we got a good roster. We got it locked up for the next 3-4 years. We got a lot of guys on here, 2028, 2029, 2030. But you got to add some complementary pieces because this Lions fan, this iteration of the Lions is definitely a very flawed product. Not like super flawed. They could still be a 10-11 win team. But as far as getting far into the playoffs, this team does not look like a Super Bowl contender. Not like they did maybe earlier in the season. Not like they did last year. But there needs to be some forward motion and there has to be more activity from the Lions brass. That's what I feel. That's the vibe I'm getting, and I'm definitely feeling a little bit myself, kind of like, come on, I mean, we got this window open, but we can't be fucking around. We gotta take this seriously. We gotta push the chips to the table. I want that ring, baby. I want that ring, and a lot of Lions fans feel it's time. I mean, we've been tortured long enough. It's time.
So here's what I'm going to ask you. Fair analysis, and that's what I'm
Yes.
feeling too. First of all, would you have given up 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner?
I don't know.
That's a no.
Probably, yeah.
That's a no. That has to be a no in my book.
No, you're
Because
yeah.
an
I'm
instant
so
yes is
wishy-washy.
if I say, would you give a second rounder up for Trey Hendrickson?
I would.
See, that was a quick yeah, I would, right?
Yeah.
So here's what I'm trying to say. Free agency is fun.
Hmm.
It's just like the offseason.
Yes.
But you can win free agency, you can win the trade deadline, you can win the offseason, you know what I mean? But
Hmm.
that usually doesn't mean shit. This is never Brad Holmes' thing. He doesn't do this. This is not what he does. We know he's very predictable. He's so predictable in how he is in the draft, with how he moves up and down with draft picks,
Yeah.
especially draft picks that he acquired from a previous team and another thing. But he's super and always has been conservative, right? He's gonna
Yeah.
pass.
That's
He's
fair.
not going to bring in high price rentals, right? He likes
Yeah.
going in via the draft. And that's just always how he has been. So, Howie Roseman, yes, he's a wheeler, he's a dealer. That's his identity, and it works for him in the Eagles.
Hmm.
However, I can tell you right now, it's super un Brad Holmes like to get ripped off like that, right? He likes to be
Yeah.
the villain. Howie Roseman's the sleazy guy from Philadelphia with lots of fake jewelry. He's always selling his own bullshit. Brad Holmes is a slick motherfucker from Detroit who has to wheel and deal and do his thing a little differently. Detroit's just different, right? It's just not what he does. So
Yeah.
he's super disciplined, he's super consistent, he's super predictable, and yet he usually wins, and he has won. And that is always, we just have to be fucking patient. So I'm not saying that I'm super happy the way the whole trade deadline went, um, but I'm also not going to tell you that if I was sitting in that seat, I could have made a better deal. I could have got Trey Hendrickson for a third round pick and a this or that.
Hmm.
I'm not going to be that guy, right? There's a lot of that guys out there right now. So,
Yeah.
um, remember Donovan Peoples Jones?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the only guy he ever made a fucking move for.
Yeah.
Where's he at right now? Right?
Ah, Lord
Right.
knows.
Right. So whatever. I don't know. Long story
Well,
short,
yeah. And I get what you're
me
saying.
personally, it is what it is. I would have liked to see a little bit of depth, but I know they just brought in a couple offensive tackles, added into the
Yeah.
practice squad for depth, which is much needed.
Yeah, definitely. Some of the guys from the practice squad have contributed. But I could dig what you're saying, but it's just like in Detroit, one thing that is frustrating to me, Detroit fans across the board with the Wings, Pistons, Lions, and Tigers, we are a very impatient fan base, and
Yep,
we
super.
expect a lot. And I think we have a good crop. I think we have some of the best executives in the league. I think Steve Eiserman, despite my disagreements with him on certain things, I still think he's a very good GM. I think Trajan Langdon's a good GM. I think Scott
Well,
Harris. Well, yeah, we'll see.
no, you're right. You're onto
Yeah,
something.
I think so, but I think they're all good. Brett Holmes. I mean, come on, the guy's reputation speaks for itself. He might drive us crazy sometimes. That's the thing. Even Scott Harris, we see what he's been doing, and it's usually disappointment at the trade deadline. But it's just the thing is, Detroit fans are impatient.
Yes.
Um, Detroit, the MO for the Detroit executives, the Steve Eisermans, the Trajan Langdons, the Scott Harrises, is build through the draft, build with your own guys, get the homegrown talent out there. And the MO from Detroit fans in general, for all across all the sports teams, is expecting big results now. And I think all 4 teams are on good trajectories. I think they are performing well. I mean, considering where this, I know I brought it up a million times, but just think about where these teams were 5-6 years ago. But the approach, the sports GMs are taking, the executives, the front offices are taking, and the fans' expectations are just kind of not really converging in a
I
way.
agree.
It's kind of like a K-shaped thing where like expectations are here, and then the GMs basically strategies are like going this way or whatnot. But it's a different kind of thing, and Detroit sports fans taking the temperature of them. And I'm frustrated. I'm guilty of this myself as a Detroit sports fan. Sometimes I read these articles, or I'm listening to certain pundits, or I'm listening to like the national news, the national media, which you should
Hey, you want a
never
ring.
do. Yeah, I
You
want a
want to
ring.
win.
I want a
You want a
ring,
ring. I
and
get it.
yeah, I want bragging rights. I want to be able to talk my shit
Yep.
back when I talked during the 2000s when the Wings were so good, and the Pistons were so good, and the Tigers were so good, and the Tigers are, you know,
They're
I don't know about the
trash,
Tigers,
dude.
but
I'm telling you, I've lost
they're
faith in the Tigers. I'm done. Not done. Okay, I'm not done. I'm not done. Hold on.
okay,
I've just lost my role, my momentum, and steam on them. I think the Pistons. I don't know. A bunch of people said it, and I thought they were crazy. I think the Pistons are going to be the ones to win it first. I really do.
You never know. I mean, they got
LeBron
this.
James agrees with me, by the way.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yes.
interesting. I didn't know
I
that.
watched a video of him complimenting the growth and the youth of this team, and basically him and I don't even know who it was saying like, listen, they're going to do an OKC thing. They're going to build from within, and they're going to build a really nasty young team. And
Yeah,
if the NBA Illuminati believes in you, man, then you got a shot.
yeah. The Pistons, man. Just. I remember how much fun it was when the Pistons were just like so dynamic in like the mid 2000s, and they just looked like
Yes,
world beaters. And how much fun
yes,
it was to have. I mean,
not wife
people still
beaters,
hate on the
world beaters.
Pistons. Yeah, but Pistons are just that's the thing about all Detroit sports teams. It's just like they're not marketable like an LA, like a
No,
coastal team or something like
no.
that, you know. But that's the thing is, I mean, because I remember in the 04 championship, they beat the Lakers with Gary Payton and Kobe Bryant and all those guys. And
Well, that
the thing
Lakers
was,
team
the
was
main,
supposed to just dominate us, and we
yeah,
did the five
exactly.
game sweep and showed
Huge
them that it
upset.
didn't make a difference.
Huge upset. Yeah, it was huge. But a lot of pundits back then were talking about, they weren't talking about how good the Pistons were. They were talking about, like, oh, Kobe, what does this mean for you? What does this mean for the Lakers?
Yep.
I can't believe it. They were talking about like all the problems with the Lakers. Nobody gave a
Well,
fuck about the Pistons,
it wasn't that the
and
Pistons
hopefully,
won; it was the Lakers lost.
yeah, the Lakers lost.
I
Exactly.
would always say that
Exactly.
about quite a lot of the way our team was. It wasn't
Yeah.
about when we win; it was about the way the other team lost, and that was a
Yep.
good. I mean, up until now, that's how the world looked at the Lions, right? It wasn't about
Yeah.
if we would win. It was like, oh yeah, but it wasn't the Lions won; it was the other team lost.
Yeah.
So
It's like
we
it says
got.
more,
Oh, check
teams
this out.
losing to the Lions says more about it. Yeah. But
Oh, it tells me what it was. Um,
yeah.
yeah, no, but it to your point, man. Detroit sports fans need to calm the fuck down. They need to chill out. They need to level set. They need to appreciate that they have 4 really good, smart general managers. Not too confident that you're going to like everything Scott Harris does, but
Yeah.
I'm also pretty confident that I'm going to like what he does because I don't support these general managers that go out and spend gobs of money, but it's going to frustrate Detroit sports fans for a second.
Oh, there's guys like us out there now.
Mhm.
There's a lot more accessibility. There's a lot more people who can build audiences with this stuff, and we're not so reliant on like the local doofus on the radio or
No,
whatever.
because you
But
know what? The
more
local
people.
doofus on the radio, Tom, and this is what pisses me off, and it has nothing to do with
Yeah.
them, me, or you, but
Hmm.
every time we talk about something, we make a hot take, right? You and I sitting in our houses, not getting paid to do this.
Yeah.
It's 3 days later, they do 4 hours on one little comment you and I made, you know, 3 days
Yeah.
before. And I'm like, okay, so what is the difference between them and us, right? Um,
Hmm.
we're not making these hot takes. It's just a great way to get this shit off our chest. That's what this
Yeah.
is for me. This is sports therapy. This is
Yeah.
just me channeling my sports passion into a different into like different, I don't know, medium, because it's
medium,
like
yes.
screaming and yelling at our coworkers doesn't work. Putting your family inside of a closet and locking them up there for 3 days and not feeding them after the Lions lost, that doesn't work. We've all tried that, right?
Yes.
Like you said, terrorizing old women doesn't work. So this is a good way for us to come on here and release some frustrations and connect with other sports people and say, hey, how are you feeling about this, right? What's your realistic opinion? And I'll tell you what, that's been a great way for me to keep my expectations set with these Lions, because there's been a lot of sports fans that have called us out, right? And then Wayne's called us out and said, you guys, man, you're just getting a taste of winning. Chill the fuck out. Right? Like, calm down. Brad Holmes is a good GM. Jared Goff is a good quarterback. You're building something big. You know, and he kept saying, look at my Buffalo Bills. Look how close we've been. I've got Josh Allen. You know, we've been there this much, right? And he even told me, he said, Mark, at the end of the day, if you're a Bills fan, just have to beat the Chiefs. That's it. I don't really care what else happens.
Yep.
And I'm
I was very happy for them.
Woo!
I was very happy for them on Sunday. That was a great game.
So happy.
That was so good. I'm very happy for the Bills. You know, Josh Allen.
Me too.
You know, he's one of those guys. I got to hand it to Josh Allen. The guy is the truth. And I tell you, man, I'm not jealous of and many quarterbacks around the league. I'm jealous we don't have Josh Allen here, man.
I am too. I think he would have fit perfectly here. And nothing against Goff, but the city of Detroit would. You think we love Goff?
We would rally. We would build statues of him. You know.
You want a good way to get Hitch back on this podcast? Tell him we traded for Josh Allen, or tell him that we signed Jay Cutler.
Jay Cutler. Oh, Lord.
The
gunslinger. That's
he
a
loves
blast
Jay
from
Cutler.
the past. Oh, Lordy.
Just because he chain smokes. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why. Because he's a chain smoker.
Smoking Joe.
Yeah.
Good old Jay Cutler. Or Smoking Jay, rather.
Smoking Jay.
That's funny.
But no, seriously, all kidding aside, right? That's where I think we're at. I made a comment about Scott Harris. I actually think he's going to really do a nice thing here. I think he's going to kind of pull a Brad Holmes and balance the books out quietly. And then you'll realize that he's been secretly dishing up the right contracts and bringing these guys in at the 1 year, $10 million prove-it deals. And you're going to go, oh shit, right? Like, so Jack Flaherty signs back with us, not signs, but opts into his $20 million deal. I'm not shocked, because truthfully, I don't think he's going to get that money anywhere else. Not a big Jack Flaherty fan. I know you're kind of on the whims with him. You and him had a little quarrel a few times, bad investment deal, I want to say. But no, all kidding aside, you're right. You said when it comes to the big games, he just bye-bye.
Yeah, he does. You know, I think he's a good number 3 behind a Tarek Skubal and a Casey Mize. But then again, you got Tarek Skubal. Where's he going to wind up? You know, what's going on with that? But
I was
kind of bitching and moaning about that, you know, just as far as that goes.
Gone.
But I just don't think he is. Yeah, I know. It's just one of those things. You just got to cope with it. I remember I heard people, the other Detroit Tigers fans, maybe a year or so ago, just being like, yeah, Skubal's going to be gone after 2025, so don't even worry about it. I'm just like, ugh, it made me mad. I'm just like, they'll sign him, but it's cope. But
I don't want him to. I don't want a $600 million pitcher and then nobody else. I don't. We're not there yet.
It's just one of those things. I think we're still in the phase where I don't know if we can really be blowing our wad like that at this stage of the Tigers' development. And it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's just like coping again, because it seems to be pretty obvious he's out of here. But I'm not saying we couldn't use a guy like that. Obviously, I mean, the guy's the most dynamic pitcher in the American League, if not all of baseball. But it's just one of those things. We're going to see some stuff that pisses us off, you know, with all these GMs. Scott Harris has done a few things. I mean, people said the trade deadline kind of stank outside of like Finnegan, but you know, it's
then again,
what
would you have done? Would you have given the farm up for Suarez? And how did that work out? Right? Like, people always say this shit, but I'm telling you, just because there's a trade deadline doesn't mean the market's hot. Doesn't mean guys are moving players. I mean, back in the 90s, these trade deadlines were a little bit more epic because you didn't see a lot of player movement in free agency.
No.
Nowadays, the trade deadlines, you don't see a lot of big shit. There really isn't, right? Now, I mean, when we traded for Prince Fielder 15 years ago, sure. That was 15 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're going to be seeing. It's not so much building because you remember like the Detroit Tigers deadlines, getting David Price, getting Victor Martinez, getting all those guys
Oh
back
yeah.
in the early 2010s, and how exciting that was. And you remember like the Wings in the 2000s, getting Brett Hull, getting Luke Robitaille. Now we're not watching free agency so much. The culture has shifted. These teams that were competitive the 2000s, the 2010s, the MO, the whole thing is different. Like I said before, and I'll repeat till I'm blue in the face. It's just a different way of approaching things. We're not watching free agency and being like, "Oh, go get that guy, go get Bo Bichette, go get Eugenio Suarez." Now we're looking at the draft. We're looking at some of these other guys on the prove it deals, like the Glaber Torreses. I think
Yep.
Scott Harris is going to make more deals like that. More of these $1 million, $10, $15 deals, $10, $50 million deals, like Alex Cobb too. Ooh. But we'll see
You're,
more deals like that. We'll see more people coming up from the farm system. Look at the excitement like guys like Kevin McGonigal and Max Clark are generating for the Tigers. Look at the way like the Red Wings prospects. Look at the way they're generating excitement. You know, Michael Branstad Nygaard, granted, he got sent back down to the minors because the pace is just a little quick for him, but the guy's like, he's a little baby. They're all such little apple cheeked toddlers, I swear. But,
well,
you know,
they are. Look
you
at it.
got,
You said they're all
yeah.
young, youthful draft picks.
Hmm. Yeah.
This is, and I'm telling you, man. Um, I'm sitting over here organizing my Sergei Fedorov and my Steve Yzerman cards. I'm getting geeked about hockey again, Hermdo, and I owe it
Yeah.
all to
It's
you.
good.
Nobody else, and you're getting me focused back on a big element of Detroit sports that I used to enjoy a lot. And I think
Yeah.
I kind of got such a weird, confused taste in my mouth because I didn't really know where the NHL was going and didn't really have any names to like jump behind, right? And now
Yeah.
we have Axel Sandin Pellikka, we have um, Mark
Emmett Finney.
Sider, we have Emmett
Yep.
Finney, we have Lucas Raymond, we have, I mean, like I'm
Marco
naming
Casper.
guys, Marco.
Yeah.
Exactly. I did a whole little short on what jersey should I get. I want to get a Wings
Yeah.
jersey. Who should I buy? It's kind of like the
Yep.
Lions, where I'm like, I'll take any of them, but I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. But people, it's getting the youth movement is here.
Yeah,
It's definitely, you know, the way, you know, I mean, we look at the way Joe Dumars has built the Pistons, bringing in, you know, Rasheed Wallace, bringing in Rip Hamilton and whatnot.
dude.
But now, you know, Trajan Langdon has a different philosophy. But yeah,
Hermdo,
we have plenty of players to get excited about. You know, some real young stars, and I think the sky's the limit with all their teams. They're all performing very well. Um,
if there was
there's
ever
a
a
lot of
trade in
yeah,
Detroit sports history that took that was an undeniable took us to the next level and paid off, tell me it wasn't bringing in Rasheed Wallace. That just
that's a good one.
finalized that '04 Pistons team and just said,
Yeah,
"Yep, that's the missing piece to make sure we are unfuckable." Like you, I
I
don't
think
give a shit
so.
who you throw at us. We got Sheed, we got Big Ben, we've got Chauncey, we've got Tayshaun, we got Rip, and it was just
Yeah,
undeniable after undeniable. But bringing in Sheed, man, that just took that
yeah,
team. Like he was that missing fucking piece, and
yep.
there hasn't been anybody for the Lions that I've said, "Oh my God, that's that Rasheed Wallace you should go out and get." That's the same thing.
Hmm.
There hasn't been anybody in baseball where I'm like, "Gotta get him. We need him here."
I
I
would
can't think
say
of any other sport.
this is around the same time frame as the Pistons, but the Detroit Tigers coming out of that 2003 season being absolute garbage, where Dave Dombrowski came in and he started slashing everybody, he traded Carlos Pena, all these guys. I would say
Yeah,
the Detroit Tigers signing Pudge Rodriguez, that was
yeah.
the first big domino to fall for those teams being as competitive as they were. Now it didn't result in a ring, unfortunately, but that was one of those things that signified a cultural change of Detroit playing more competitive baseball. And one of those things that, you know, there's a ton of, you know, look at the Wings in the free
Huh.
agency. Look at, you know, adding Brett Hull and Dominic Hasek in 2001 and the way they just stormed their way to the final and won. They beat the Carolina Hurricanes in 2002. And there's been other instances of that, you know, some of the guys they added on the Bad Boys Pistons and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I yeah, and in the modern time, I don't know. I mean, there hasn't really been like as far as like the Lions go, I mean, there's really not been much to celebrate as far as, you know, moving the championships forward and whatnot, but or at least getting to a championship, I should say. But
Well, how about
in
this?
different
If you're talking
eras,
about culture shifts, because I'll give you that, Pudge was a huge. Pudge is the only reason anybody signed here after that. Like that, he basically said the recruit. He was a great recruit. He recruited everybody. Okay,
yeah, he brought in Carlos
what was
Guillen,
bigger,
Mags, and
Pudge coming to Detroit or the
yeah.
Stafford Goff trade? What was bigger?
Oh
What was
man,
bigger at changing the culture?
man, I mean, because you think about it, the Lions, they were coming out of the Patricia era where
Oh,
it was such an unmitigated clusterfuck.
and no one
And the
was coming
Tigers,
here, and you
yeah, the
knew Matt was leaving.
2000, yeah, a lot of younger fans, a lot of like the Gen Z Tigers fans, they don't remember '03. They don't remember how god
No,
awful that team was.
Phew,
Like setting a record or like tying the
for
record for
most
like most
losses.
futility. But as far as, geez, that's a really good question. But
And we may not
I don't
answer
know
that
because they
right
were
now.
both like
That's just
irrelevant.
something to
Man, I'm
think
sorry,
about.
I don't know. I'm gonna say the more to me the more momentous trade was the Stafford Goff trade, and I'll say that because Stafford was supposed to be the guy. Stafford was the
Yeah.
guy. We took him first overall after that abysmal 2008 season. He was going to right the ship. We were going to build up a championship with him. He was going to have his weapons, and yeah, we had a lot of great moments with Stafford, but it just never gelled in place. And Goff came in, and it was so clear. It was just like because a quarterback trade like that, people had their misgivings about Goff. He was good on the Rams. He had some moments on the Rams people liked. People looked at that Super Bowl performance. He did get to a Super Bowl. He did lose to Tom Brady, one of the most boring Super Bowls of all time.
Oh
But
God.
you see, I mean, for so many teams, trading away your starting quarterback can be such a disaster. Losing your starting quarterback can be such a disaster and fling you into irrelevancy for a long, long time. But it didn't happen with the Lions when you were absolutely goddamn certain it would. Because you see other teams,
Uh-huh.
look at the Saints without Drew Brees, look at, um, look at, no, I don't want to talk too much
The
shit, but
Bulls without Jordan.
the Bulls without Jordan. Look at, the Patriots for a few years now. It seems like Drake May might be the answer, but I mean, look how bad they
And
were
that
after
might just be
Brady
more
and
Mike
Belichick
Frank
left.
Vrabel.
Yeah, Mike Vrabel. Yep. And look at, the way the culture has changed so utterly and completely, and the way Goff built us up like that. And the Detroit, the Tigers did have, I don't know. I mean, it's just like that. They were like an irrelevant like poverty franchise for so long, and so were the Lions. It is a good question, but I have to give the nod to the Jared Goff trade because there wasn't really a player on the Tigers that, I mean, Pudge was the guy. He immediately
Well,
became like the
and
best
let's
player
look
on the
at
team.
this. 2004. When was the last time the Tigers won something? 84.
84, yeah,
When we made the Stafford trade, when was the last time the Lions won something? 1950.
1957.
Exactly. So the, you remember in '03, we still remembered the Bless You Boys. I still, you know what I mean? Like that was still
Yeah.
Tram, Whitaker, Senior Smoke. Like everybody still talked about the Tigers baseball is still being like, it had a little gravitas. It just didn't have sex appeal.
Mhm.
And it didn't have a player that had that had some, what do the kids call it? Aura now? Pudge Rodriguez
Yeah.
had aura, brah.
Yeah. Arguably the
Still
greatest
does.
catcher of all time,
I
but I
agree.
mean,
Agree.
you could put what's his name from the card, Yadier Molina, in there too. But still, I
Dude,
mean,
what a stud. What a
my
dude.
God,
Yadier Molina, Pudge Rodriguez, whatchamacall, Salvi from Kansas City.
Salvador Perez, yeah.
Dude, just talk
Oh
about
yeah.
demon slayers. They're
Look at
big,
what Cal
they're
Raleigh is doing.
nasty.
Yeah,
Well, he's put him on that list of just going to be fucking thugs. Um,
absolutely.
they're just guys that can anchor a fucking squad, dude.
Yep,
Um,
yep.
but you kind of nice to see that with Cal Riley. Nice to see that
Yeah.
with the MLB, to have some of these traditional like power positions where they need to be relevant again, and not everything is
Hmm.
just sabermetrics. Like every guy cannot just be a fucking stat. Like it, I want to
Yeah,
see these
exactly.
personalities. I want to see these position players. Like Gary Sheffield, dude, he did this whole. I don't know if you've ever watched interviews with current Gary Sheffield, but that motherfucker smokes a cigar with sunglasses on all day, all the time, and he don't hide
Yeah.
shit, right? He don't can shit. Um, and Gary Sheffield was just saying, listen, it's not these young kids' faults. These hitting coaches are telling them to go out there and saying, listen, if you're gonna see this pitch, doesn't matter what, you have to swing. He's like, so they're just taking away the element of your swing and making good decisions and being a good fundamental
Yeah.
baseball player. Imagine if you took away a quarterback's ability to make secondary and third reads. Imagine if you took audibles away from quarterbacks and
Hmm.
said, you're going to go out there and on the snap count, you're going to just hike the ball and it's going right to this player. What the fuck would
Yeah.
that do to football? It would ruin the game if it was
Hmm.
ran by stats, right? No, you need guys out there that are going, I'm going to make all of these pre-snap adjustments. I'm going to shift this player, move this around. That's what
Yeah.
baseball players used to do, right? They would move up in the box, move back in the box, choke up on the bat, choke
Yeah.
down on the bat. Like they would have based on what they were doing in the moment. Now it's like, I don't
Yes.
care what you're doing. Here's a work order. Go out there and complete this. It's going to slash
Yeah.
your average down to 233. But guess what? Every third game, your walk that you get will help us score a run. Cool.
Yeah. I mean, maybe some of the romantic aspects of like the games have been kind of taken away from, taken away by, sabermetrics in a way.
Creative
There's a lot of
freedom,
like
dude.
fundamentals and intangibles that, players, engage in that kind of, you don't really see that much anymore. Everything's kind of by the book. Everything's like measured and quantified and whatnot. And you don't really see like, the kinds of adjustments, the kind of like breaking with like tradition you saw before. But baseball is one of those teams. I don't know. I mean, sabermetrics is here to stay. I mean, obviously, it's been a quintessential part of baseball for a couple decades now. But
Listen,
basically,
sabermetrics
oh,
is
go ahead.
great. I'm a big
Yeah.
analytical guy. I'm a data guy, but
Hmm.
Tom, I'm also a big fan and a big proponent in paralysis. You can get analysis by paralysis, and you can
Yep.
just get locked the fuck up by overthinking it. And that's really what this comes down to, because baseball is a game of in-game adjustments, right? Like every other sport. So when you're locking these guys and you're taking away their creative freedom. You're taking away everything they've known to do, everything that's got them to the big leagues, and you're handcuffing them. Um, Takes away the fun of the sport from my perspective. That's all the fuck
Yeah.
I'm saying. So it kind of cuts down on the competitiveness. It's no different than the NBA and their lack of defense, right? What did that do? What has that done for the game in the league?
Yeah. Same thing with the
It
dead puck era ending in the NHL.
Yep.
Now it's a different mindset. The game moves faster, the defense is better, goaltenders react differently, everything's kind of topsy turvy. And watch a game from like 1997 and watch a game now. It's a totally different sport.
It is.
But
It is a different sport.
it,
And I think the NHL, hopefully, I'm rooting for them. They're going to come out of
yeah.
the basement and they're going to get a little bit more love.
Yeah. I mean, the NHL, I mean, it's always going to be a niche thing, but is expanding. I do think the expansion is good. I don't know how well the Utah team, the Utah Mammoth, are going to do. Watching a team like the biggest success from it right now is probably the Vegas Golden Knights. Watching the Seattle Kraken, I know they knocked off the Avalanche in 2023 playoffs. Then they were the defending Cup champions, so they have something to hang their hat on a little bit.
Why
A
do
lot
I
of
have
these
hockey in
teams,
Utah? Why do I have hockey
I
in Las
don't know,
Vegas? Why do I
because they couldn't
have
have it in the.
football in Carolina? I'm so sick of this.
I don't know. Why is there hockey in Carolina? That should have been the Hartford Whalers, but
Why is there
they
hockey in
should have stayed the
Arizona?
Hartford Whalers.
You're right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that experiment. I mean, hockey for some reason didn't work in Winnipeg, so they moved to Phoenix, and that didn't work in Phoenix, so they moved to Utah, and Lord knows what's going to happen there. I mean, they tried hockey in Atlanta twice, and that didn't work out.
Boy,
So
they.
they tried hockey in Ohio. I mean, you had the Cleveland Barons for like 2 years back in the 70s. And now you got the Blue Jackets, who are so mid, it's hilarious.
And it doesn't
But
matter who they put there. No one is going to say I'm a huge Columbus Blue Jackets fan, dude. When
yeah,
when you're in Ohio, you're either a fan of your own farts or your football team. That's it.
Columbus is run by the Buckeyes.
Yes,
You know,
always will be.
that's the thing. Yeah, that's the way it is. I mean, there's some love for the Bengals and some. I mean, the Bengals and the Browns. I mean, but the Bengals, who look like they could fumble Joe Burrow, and the Browns, who are paying like 9 different quarterbacks at the same time. I mean, when you look
11.
at something like for the love of 9/11,
Yeah.
it is 9/11, but Jesus, but yeah, it's just one of those things. But there's some markets it's just not going to work out. I mean, hockey was big. People don't remember how big hockey was in the 90s. It was probably bigger than the
Huge.
NBA, even
It
bigger
was.
than than Charles Barkley and Michael fucking Jordan and those guys. But
You're not
I mean,
wrong,
yeah,
man.
your Wayne Gretzky's,
Hockey was
Mario
huge.
Lemieux. Yeah.
You
Hockey was massive, and
you could keep going on. You had Sergei Fedorov, you had Steve Yzerman, you had
yeah.
Dino, you had the list goes on, man.
You had Mike
Pavel
Madonna,
Bure.
you had Brett Hull, you
Yep.
had Adam Oates, you had who I mean, geez, there's so many.
Patrick Waugh, you
There's
had
so many.
Mike
You had
Vernon, you had
Mario Lemieux, you had Martin Brodeur, you had all these guys, just titans of the game. And the era of hockey now is still good. Granted, the Wings, they're on the come up. They're a bubble team and whatnot. I mean, if the Wings ever reach that status again, I'd be so freaking happy. But hockey is just. I'd like to see the game expand. I want it to have more fan base. The fans that are there are very dedicated. Hockey fans, especially Wings fans, are nut jobs. They absolutely
dude. If we got
die
Wayne
for this team.
Gretzky, did you see that interview with Wayne Gretzky? And he said,
did. He almost came to the Wings. Yeah, back in the 90s.
His dad was like, "Nah, they got Gordie Howe. You don't need to go there." And he's like, "Okay." I'm like, "Fuck! Why'd you call your dad,
Shit.
dude? Go to Cade
That would have
here."
been different. Yeah,
Different.
I remember Gretzky went to St. Louis for a year. We beat them in the '96 playoffs on that Steve Yzerman triple overtime goal.
Yep.
That was some. Yeah, Gretzky
We
was on
had
that
such
team.
a battle in the '90s with St. Louis, and my cousins live in St. Louis, and I'll never forget watching a big series in St. Louis and thinking like I'm in enemy territory.
Yeah. St. Louis is something
They're
else. I mean, the
coming
Blues
for me.
finally won. Yeah, I mean, the Blues had some good teams here and there, but I remember. Yeah, they won in 2019. I'm happy for them. They beat the Bruins, which I always appreciate. So, yeah. But what? Kind of going off on a tangent. It is title.
Well,
yeah.
Boston's a title town, and it bothers me because I hate the Red Sox. I don't despise the Patriots. I got sick of seeing the Bruins win. But like, it's title town. I'm jealous. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And as far as New York is concerned,
yeah,
done. I'm done.
Forget about it.
Done.
Ugh.
Sports are going to be illegal in New York in about 2 months. If you catch my drift.
Oh Lord. But oh yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah. Oh Lord have mercy. But yeah, I mean Detroit. I'm ride or die with Detroit, baby. We got to just accept. I mean, we're in a good spot in a lot of ways. So I'm not freaking out. I'm not black pilling too much. So I just try to have a clear head.
You and I have been around long enough, man, and I feel like we've put a lot of our emotions out there already with some of these sports teams, and I definitely do want to see though a well-rounded. I do want to see a championship in the next couple of years, man. We're deserving
absolutely.
It. And, I'm eager. We really didn't even talk a lot about Week 10 of the NFL, and I don't even really give a shit, to be honest with you.
With the
here's my fucking attitude towards this Washington game. This Washington Redskins game. This is how I feel about the Redskins. You don't have Jaden Daniel right now. If we can't beat this fucking team without their starting quarterback, I got issues.
You know what? Seeing the Jaden. Did you see
their starting linebacker
injury?
too? I think is I didn't see the. Hold on. Their starting linebacker, too, I think he's suspended for conduct as well. So the deck is stacked against them at home.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't see the injury.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal. It's like arm twisted back behind itself. But yeah, I mean, if the Lions, I'm sure the Lions will take care of business. I mean, it's a gimme game, like the same thing that, with Cincinnati and whatnot. But I think If the Lions, they're probably going to have a couple more bad losses this year. I count the Vikings loss as a bad loss, and it's just what we expected at the start of the season. And you get the fair weather guys jumping off the bandwagon and stuff like that. You're probably going to. I think throughout the next few weeks, the Washington game is probably going to go our way. I have to believe that. If it doesn't, then God help us. But it's at a few points throughout the season, we're going to hear SOL. We're going to hear SOL from people. We just have to prepare ourselves for it.
You're right.
The
I
same
know.
people that are like stuck in 2018, the same people that, can't appreciate anything the Lions have done, the same people that have been so hurt, they go from the victimized to the victimizers. And we're just going to see just get ready for a lot of dog shit and bullshit with this Lions team this year. There's going to be a couple bad losses. There's going to be some moves or lack of moves that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell make. It's going to leave you scratching your head. There's going to be some dumb penalties. John Morton's getting raked over the coals. A lot of stuff. It's just one of those things. The offensive line could be a problem. That was one of my concerns going into this season. It seems like maybe it's materializing. I didn't mean it to, but that was, it's kind of going to be an up and down year for the Lions this year. It's kind of one of those years where it's just going to be a little bit of a slump, and hopefully, I think the Lions got enough, pieces in place, and they have good enough upper management to really correct the ship. And I think the Lions will be back, in Super Bowl contention in the years following this one. I still think the window is wide open, but it's probably going to be a little bit of a down year, and we're going to have to deal with a lot of passive aggressive bullshit from fair weather Lions fans. That's all I'll say about that. That's all I have to say.
Okay, well, that's fair. Well, here's what I'm going to say. Go beat the fucking Commanders. Handle your business. Yep. Go into Washington. Beat a bruised up team. I want to see the defense smother the shit out of this offense. I want to see a score. Yeah. I want to see that offensive line be on fucking point. Pass protection, guys. And anybody out there that tells me that, they out schemed. But they blitzed Jared Goff too much and they couldn't handle it and they couldn't pick up the blitzes. Guess what? Brian Flores blitzes almost 50% of the fucking time, and Jared Goff is one of the best quarterbacks when being blitzed under the blitz. It was bad pass protection that was on the offensive line at not picking up what was going on. So I'm going to leave it at that. So go into Washington, go handle them undeniably. Cade Cunningham, you look like an MVP like you always do. The Detroit Tigers, stop telling me Alex Bregman's coming here. He doesn't want to come here. I don't want him here. Nobody wants to be a fucking Detroit Tiger. Drop the bullshit. And the Red Wings, I think you got all the love. I'm all about the Wings. And honestly, that's where I'm at.
That's totally, I'm pretty much right there with you. I'd say, the Tigers, it's just keep doing what you're doing, Detroit. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Stay the course.
Keep adding those young guys.
Yes.
Keep the upper management in place.
Yes.
We got good executives across the board. I'm liking what I'm seeing. There's a lot of positive things, a lot of good vibes. There's a lot to be positive about as far as Detroit sports goes. And it translates to the culture in and around the city. It makes me happy when I see my Lions win or my Tigers win. Or my Wings, take it to somebody, especially one of their rivals. The Pistons look like they could be put together another really good year. JB Bickerstaff has this team firing on all cylinders.
I believe in
Jalen
Duran.
Exactly. Bickerstaff and Jaron Duran, Jaden Ivey, Cade Cunningham, all those guys. I'm liking what I'm seeing from them. I haven't watched much basketball this year yet, but hopefully with my schedule changing a little bit, I can fit a few more games into my schedule. But I'm excited. I think that there's positive things, but it's just like, moreover to my point of the Lions fans, we know what Lions fans are like because Lions really gave you nothing to root for, and the Lions fans are totally unwilling to adapt to a winning atmosphere or a
strategy. You got to give these fuckers a Super Bowl right now so they calm down. You're right.
I know.
Put a pacifier in their mouth because these Detroit Lions fans don't understand what a football team looks like.
I know. They don't understand what a winning culture is like, but we'll force them to understand. We'll force them. You and me, Mark, we'll force them. But as far as there's going to be a lot of negativity. There's going to be a lot of naysayers. There's going to be guys who are talking shit and running their mouths and questioning everything and being downers. We're just going to have to understand that's just part of being a Detroit fan, and it's just what to be expected. I just say keep the energy up, keep the positivity going.
Yeah.
Don't let little setbacks ruin your enjoyment of these games, and just keep on trucking. That's all I got to say.
Don't be Mike
That's all I got to
Labate.
say.
Don't be a dick.
Yeah, exactly. Be like Mike.
Yeah. All right, brother. Well, listen, I think this was a great podcast.
Yes.
I absolutely am enjoying that we're talking way more than just Lions. We are going to start getting into some conspiracy stuff. We've said that before. But I want to get some time and come on your channel, the
Sure.
Hermdo's channel. Please like and subscribe to that. I love that you're putting these videos out. I love creating all my burner accounts and creating lights of chaos inside your world.
Yep.
Like it's like Pee Wee's Playhouse, it's Hermdo's Playhouse. That's the way I view your
Yes.
channel. Is you are Pee Wee, and you have all your goofy. I just love it. I love what you're doing over there. It's really fun
Yeah.
when I'm at work and one of those videos pops up, and I'm like, ooh, I'm listening to this right now. So
Yep.
if you're a subscriber of the fan forum, you need to be a subscriber of Hermdo's channel on YouTube.
Thank you.
And yeah, dude, we're gonna come on. Hopefully, the Commanders Lions game is Sunday at 4:25. Hopefully,
Yep.
we can come on after and celebrate a live broadcast with a victory. And
Absolutely.
I think that's when we'll try to get some goofballs of our friends on. Hopefully, Mike can join us. Maybe Bob can hop on. But
Yeah,
the later
absolutely.
evening times seem to be better for people.
Yeah, definitely.
And Bob,
Definitely.
I'm
But yeah,
sorry. I told you I'd hit you up to record, and I figured, hey, you were probably busy tonight. So if you're listening to this, sorry.
yeah, it's all good. We miss you. We love you.
Yes. But outside of that, peace.
Peace.
That was fun. I like that.
Good stuff.